Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Kim and in today's video we are getting to know the 15 most important sentence structures in the Finnish language, which means we are also going to learn how to build different kinds of sentences. This video is split into 15 parts. We are first going to focus on basic sentences, then questions, object sentences, possession sentences, experiences sentences, existential sentences, infinitive verb correction sentences, third infinitive sentences, predicative sentences, necessity sentences, on-house-car sentences, weather, temperature and condition sentences, feeling sentences, transitive and intransitive sentences, and change expressing sentences. So let's start with the first one, basic sentences. They usually consist at least of a subject and a verb, but they can also have, of course, an object, which however is here rather optional. So let's start with some very easy examples. Minä nukun means I sleep. Minä is our subject and nukun is our verb. It's the first person singular present tense of the verb nukua, which means to sleep. Minä nukun, I sleep. Or Lasse asuu Helsingissä means Lasse lives in Helsinki. Lasse is our subject. Asuu is our verb. It's the third person singular present tense of the verb asua, which means to live somewhere. And Helsingissä here means in Helsinki. It's the inessive case of Helsinki. Lasse asuu Helsingissä. Lasse lives in Helsinki. Let's have one more example. Aki ja Jussi puhuvat puhelimessa means Aki and Jussi are talking on the phone. So Aki and Jussi here are our subject. Puhuvat is our verb. It's the third person plural present tense of the verb puhua, which means to speak, and puhelimessa means on the phone. It's the inessive case of puhelin, which means telephone. So let's repeat. Aki ja Jussi puhuvat puhelimessa. Aki and Jussi are talking on the phone. Alright, we move on with the next one, the questions. In the Finnish language, there are two ways to form questions. We can either use question words like, for example, miksi, milloin, or mitä, or we can also add the suffix ko or ko to the verb. Let's take a look at some examples. Miksi sinä opiskelet suomea means, why do you study Finnish? Miksi, why, it's a question word. Sinä means you. Opiskelet is our verb. It's the second person singular present tense of the verb opiskella, which means to study. And suomea here means Finnish, standing in the partitive case because of the verb opiskella. So let's repeat. Miksi sinä opiskelet suomea? Why do you study Finnish? Let's have another one. Milloin sinä nukut means when do you sleep? Milloin means when, it's a question word. Sinä means you and nukut is our verb here. It's the second person singular of the verb nukkua, which means to sleep. Milloin sinä nukut. Now let's take two examples where we have the verb plus the ko or ko suffix. Puhutko sinä englantia means do you speak English? So the basic form of puhutko is puhua plus the ko suffix. Here we use the ko suffix because of the vowel harmony. So puhutko means do you speak? Sinä, you, englantia, English. Standing here in the partitive case again because of the verb puhua. Puhutko sinä englantia? Do you speak English? One more. Haluatko kahvia means do you want coffee? Haluatko is do you want? Its basic form is haluta plus ko suffix. Haluta, by the way, means to want. And kahvia here means coffee. It's the partitive case of kahvi. Here we need the partitive case because we're talking about an uncountable amount of coffee. Haluatko kahvia? Do you want coffee? One more. Juotko sinä maitoa means do you drink milk? So juotko is a combination of juoda plus ko. Juotko means do you drink? Sinä means you and maitoa means milk. Standing here in the partitive case because we're talking here about an uncountable amount of milk. So let's repeat. Juotko sinä maitoa? Do you drink milk? Now we carry on with the so-called object sentences, which do consist of a subject, verb, and an object. Most of the time, the object appears in the basic form, in partitive singular or partitive plural, genitive singular, and nominative plural, aka T plural. Let's have a look at some examples. Minä odotan bussia means I'm waiting for the bus. Minä means I, it's the subject. Odotan, here's our verb. It's the first person singular present tense of the verb odottaa, which means to wait, and bussia here means bus, standing here in the partitive case because of the verb odottaa. So let's repeat. Minä odotan bussia. I'm waiting for the bus. So here we had an example with the partitive singular. Let's take another example with genitive singular. Amy syö omenan means Amy eats an apple. So Amy is our subject here. Syö here is our verb. Its basic form is syödä, which means to eat. And omenan here is the genitive singular of omena, which means apple. The choice of the genitive singular here implies that Amy is eating the whole apple. So let's repeat. Amy syö omenan. Amy eats an apple. One more example. When we want to say, do you know him? Then we say, tunnetko hänet? Look at the word hänet. It's the accusative case of hän. But when we want to say, I don't know him, then we say, en tunne häntä. So häntä here is the partitive case of hän. Why do we need the partitive case here? Because it's a negative sentence. Tunnetko hänet versus en tunne häntä. Do you know him versus I don't know him. Alright, we move on with the next one, possession sentences. Better known as minulla on sentences. Here the person who has something stands here in the adjective case plus object in either nominative singular or nominative plural or partitive singular and partitive plural. Let's take a look at some examples. Minulla on auto means I have a car. Minulla on, I have. Auto means car. So here our object is standing in nominative singular. However, we can also have an object standing in nominative plural. Mikolla on silmälasit means Mikko has glasses. So Mikolla on means Mikko has. By the way, if you wonder why there's only one K in Mikolla, it's because Mikko is a name that goes through a consonant gradation when being put in the adjective case. And silmälasit means glasses. This is actually a word which always appears in the nominative plural. So let's repeat. Mikolla on silmälasit. Mikko has glasses. Now let's take an example with partitive singular. Minulla ei ole autoa means I don't have a car. Minulla ei ole means I don't have. And autoa here means car, standing in the partitive case because it's a negative sentence. So you see before we had minulla on auto, which was a positive sentence. I have a car versus minulla ei ole autoa. I don't have a car. Now let's take one example with partitive plural. Hänellä on paljon ystäviä means he has many friends. So hänellä on means he or she has. Paljon means many or much. And ystäviä means friends. Here we use the partitive plural because we're talking about an indefinite amount of friends. So let's repeat. Hänellä on paljon ystäviä. He has many friends. Alright, now we carry on with the next topic, experiences sentences, better known as minulla on exceptions. Here we are usually talking about a person that experiences something. So the person has to stand in the adjective case, plus on, plus basic form. Here's some examples. Minulla on kuuma means I'm hot. Or sinulla on jano means you are thirsty. Hänellä on kiire. He's in a hurry. Or minulla on paha olo. Literally means I have a bad feeling, but in English we usually translate it as I'm feeling unwell or I'm feeling sick. So as you see here, that what gets experienced is standing here in the basic form. Let's take a negative sentence. Hänellä ei ole pää kipeä means he doesn't have a headache. So also here in a negative sentence, we use the basic form. Alright, we move on. Existential sentences. They express where something is. Such sentences usually start with a place or location, plus verb in the third person singular, plus a subject usually standing in nominative singular, partitive singular, or partitive plural. Here are some examples. Ulkona on kissa means there's a cat outside. So ulkona means outside, on means is, and kissa means cat. Ulkona on kissa. There's a cat outside. Let's have another example. Jääkaapissa on maitoa. There's milk in the fridge. So jääkaapissa means in the fridge. It's the inessive case of jääkaappi, and maitoa here is standing in the partitive singular because we're talking about an uncountable amount of milk. So let's repeat. Jääkaapissa on maitoa. There's milk in the fridge. Next one. Kadulla ei ole autoa means there's no car on the street. So kadulla means on the street. It's the adjective case of katu, which means street, and autoa here is standing in the partitive case because it's a negative sentence. So let's repeat. Kadulla ei ole autoa. By the way, if you wonder why kadulla looks so different than katu, it's because katu, which is the nominative case and means street, goes through a consonant gradation when we put it into the adjective case. So the T changes to D. One more, and our last example for this structure. Pöydällä on kirjoja means there are books on the table. Pöydällä means on the table. It's the adjective case of pöytä, which means table, and kirjoja here is partitive plural. Why? Because we're talking here about an indefinite amount of books. Now, one question that might appear is, why do we use on instead of ovat when we're talking about books in plural? The answer is that when we want to talk about the existing of something in a location, here, for example, books on a table, then we have to use on, which is part of the existential sentence structure, regardless of whether the subject is standing in singular or plural. All right, let's move on. Infinitive verb action sentences. These are sentences that consist of a verb plus an infinitive verb. Let's take a look at some examples. Minä voin tulla lauantaina means I can come on Saturday. So minä means I, voin is a verb. It's standing here in the first person singular present tense. Its basic form is voida, which means can, and tulla is our infinitive verb meaning to come. Lauantaina means on Saturday. Minä voin tulla lauantaina. I can come on Saturday. Or let's have another example. Minä haluan lähteä kauppaan means I wanna leave to the store. So haluan here is our verb. It's the first person singular present tense of the verb haluta, which means to want. Lähteä is our infinitive verb here, which means to live, living somewhere to. And kauppaan means to the store. It's the illative case of kauppa. So let's repeat. Minä haluan lähteä kauppaan. I wanna live to the store. Let's do one more example of this structure. Minä osaan soittaa kitaraa means I can play guitar. So osaan here is our verb. It's the first person singular present tense of osata, which means can in the sense of knowing how to do something. And soittaa is our infinitive verb meaning to play in the sense of playing an instrument. So let's repeat. Minä osaan soittaa kitaraa. I can play guitar. Alright, we move on to our next topic, the third infinitive sentences. By the way, if you want to learn more about the third infinitive, I already made a full video about this topic. So to make it short here, the third infinitive can express different things. Amongst others, the beginning of an action or the returning from doing an action or an ongoing process. So let's take a look at some examples. Jään vielä kirjastoon opiskelemaan means I'm going to still stay studying at the library. So jään here is the first person singular present tense of the verb jäädä, which means to stay. Vielä means still. Kirjastoon is the elative case of kirjasto, which means library. Here we need the elative case because of the verb jäädä. And then we have opiskelemaan, which is the third infinitive elative. Let's do another example. Aki palasi Saksasta opiskelemasta means Aki returned from studying in Germany. So in this sentence we are expressing the return from doing an action. So palasi here is a verb. It's the third person singular past tense of the verb palata, which means to return. Saksasta means from Germany. It's the elative case. Here we need the elative case because we want to express from where Aki is returning, and opiskelemasta means from studying. From what is Aki returning? From studying. Opiskelemasta, third infinitive, elative. So let's repeat. Aki palasi Saksasta opiskelemasta. Aki returned from studying in Germany. One more example before we carry on. Olen keittiössä tekemässä ruokaa means I'm in the kitchen making food. So this sentence expresses an ongoing process, often expressed with verbs like olla, istua, or seisoa. So olen keittiössä means I'm in the kitchen, and tekemässä ruokaa means making food. So tekemässä here is the third infinitive in a sieve case. So let's repeat. Olen keittiössä tekemässä ruokaa. I'm in the kitchen making food. Alright, we carry on. Predicative sentences. What is that? Predicative sentences describe the subject of a sentence. So they usually consist of a subject in nominative singular or nominative plural plus olla verb plus noun or adjective. Again, it's easier when we look at some examples. Talo on uusi means the house is new. So talo means house and uusi means new. So why is uusi standing here in the basic form? Because our subject is concrete and singular. So let's repeat. Talo on uusi. The house is new. Let's take another example. Kirjasto ei ole vanha means the library isn't old. So kirjasto means library and vanha means old. Although we have a negative sentence here, vanha still stays in its basic form since it refers to the library, which appears in a singular form. So let's repeat. Kirjasto ei ole vanha. The library isn't old. Next one. Maito on kylmää means the milk is cold. So maito means milk and kylmää means cold. Here we use the partitive singular because our subject is uncountable. Here, by the way, it's important to mention, in a predicative sentence, the subject has to stand in the nominative case, which is why maito doesn't change. Let's have some more examples. Laulaminen on kivaa means singing is nice. So laulaminen here is describing an activity. In English we translate it as singing, and kiva here means nice. It's standing here in the partitive case because our subject is abstract. It's describing an activity. Next example, kengät ovat mustat means the shoes are black. So kengät means shoes and mustat means black. Here we use the nominative plural because our subject is also in plural. Kengät ovat mustat. The shoes are black. Let's have another example. Tämä villatakki ei ole lämmin means this cardigan isn't warm. So tämä means this, villatakki means cardigan, ei ole means is not, and lämmin means warm. So here we keep lämmin in its basic form, even though it's a negative sentence. One more example. Musiikki on ihanaa means music is wonderful. So here ihanaa, which means wonderful, is standing in a partitive case because music is an abstract noun. So let's repeat. Musiikki on ihanaa. Music is wonderful. Alright, we move on to the next. Necessity sentences. These are the minun täytyy or minun ei tarvitse sentences. The formation is very simple. Subject in genitive case plus either täytyy or pitää or on pakko or ei tarvitse plus infinitive. Let's have a look at some examples. Minun täytyy ostaa uusi sanakirja means I have to buy a new dictionary. So in a positive necessity sentence, the object stands in its basic form. Minun täytyy means I have to. Ostaa, to buy. Uusi, new, sanakirja, dictionary. Minun täytyy ostaa uusi sanakirja. I have to buy a new dictionary. Let's take another example. Pekan ei tarvitse ostaa uutta autoa means Pekka doesn't have to buy a new car. So here we have a negative sentence, which means that our object has to stand in the partitive case, which is why we say uutta autoa. Its basic form is uusi auto. So let's repeat. Pekan ei tarvitse ostaa uutta autoa. Maybe super short analysis. Pekan is the genitive case of Pekka. Ei tarvitse, doesn't have to. Ostaa, to buy, infinitive verb. And uutta autoa is our object in the partitive case. Why in the partitive case? Because it's a negative sentence. One more example. Mikon pitää opiskella saksaa means Miko has to study German. So pitää here means also to have to. And here we have saksa, which means German. It's standing here in the partitive case because of the verb opiskella. Mikon pitää opiskella saksaa. Or when we want to express that he absolutely must study German, then we would say Mikon on pakko opiskella saksaa. Miko absolutely must study German. Alright, we carry on. On hauskaa sentences. In such sentences, we don't have a subject, and the verb is either on or oli, plus adjective in partitive case, plus infinitive. So let's see what it means. On hauskaa tanssia yöllä means it's fun to dance at night. Here we have our verb on, then hauskaa, which is our adjective in partitive case, and then we have our infinitive verb, which is tanssia. So let's repeat. On hauskaa tanssia yöllä. It's fun to dance at night. Next one. On kiva istua puutarhassa means it's nice to sit in the garden. So again we have the verb on, then our adjective in partitive case, which is kiva. Istua is our infinitive verb, meaning to sit, and puutarhassa means in the garden, in a sieve case of puutarha. So let's repeat. On kiva istua puutarhassa. It's nice to sit in the garden. Let's do one more example. Ei ole hauskaa odottaa. It's not fun to wait. So of course we can also say something isn't nice, funny or wonderful. So ei ole, it is not. Hauskaa, again it's our adjective in partitive case. Odottaa means to wait, infinitive verb. Ei ole hauskaa odottaa. It's not fun to wait. Alright, we carry on with weather, temperature and condition sentences. These sentences usually don't have a subject. So let's take a quick look at some examples. Sataa means it's raining, or tuulee means it's windy. So in Finnish, it is absolutely possible to talk about the weather with only one word. But let's have a look at some other examples. On pilvistä means it's cloudy. Täällä on kaunista means it's beautiful here. Or we can also say on 5 astetta pakkasta, which means it's 5 degrees below zero. Or let's have one more example. Eilen satoi vettä means yesterday it rained. Or for example, on kaunis ilma means it's a beautiful weather. Alright, so let's carry on with the feeling sentences. The formation is very clear. The person feeling something is standing in the partitive case, plus we need the verb to be in the third person singular. Let's have a look at some examples. Minua väsittää väsittää means I feel tired. So minua here means I, but it's standing in the partitive case because I'm the person who feels something. I feel tired. And väsittää means to feel tired. It's a verb standing in the third person singular. So let's repeat. Minua väsittää. I feel tired. Or minua nukuttaa means I feel sleepy. So nukuttaa is our verb in the third person singular. And if I don't feel sleepy, I can say minua ei nukuta. Let's try some actual sentences. Minua kiinnostaa rock-musiikki. Literally means rock music interests me. So minua again is standing here in the partitive case. Kiinnostaa is our verb in the third person singular, implying that rock music is interesting to me. Let's do one more. Minua harmittaa, kun unohtan avaimet ja puhelimen kotiin. Means I feel annoyed when I forget the keys and the phone at home. So minua, again, partitive case. Harmittaa means something like being annoyed in a frustrated way. Kun means when. Unohtan means I forget. Its basic form is unohtaa, which means to forget. Avaimet, the keys. Basic form avain. Ja means and. Puhelimen means the phone. Its basic form is puhelin. And then we have kotiin, ilative case. Why do we need the ilative case here? Because we have the verb unohtaa. So when we forget something, then we forget something to somewhere. So the action here is unohtaa plus ilative case. So let's repeat. Minua harmittaa, kun unohtan avaimet ja puhelimen kotiin. I feel annoyed when I forget the keys and the phone at home. Alright, we carry on with the next one. Transitive and intransitive sentences. So transitive sentences have a subject and an object. Intransitive sentences don't have an object. The formation is clear. Subject plus verb plus, if available, object plus either time, place or manner. So let's check out some intransitive examples. Minua asuin Norjassa means I lived in Norway. This sentence doesn't have an object. It's an intransitive sentence. Minä asuin Norjassa. Or Lasse tulee lauantaina. Lasse will come on Saturday. Also here is no object. Lasse is our subject. Tulee is a verb, third person singular present tense of the verb tulla, which means to come. And lauantaina means on Saturday, indicating the time. Now let's take a look at some transitive examples. Hän juo maitoa. Hän juo maitoa means he drinks milk. Milk is our object here, and it has to stand here in the partitive case because it's uncountable. Hän juo maitoa. He drinks milk. Or Amy lukee kirjaa means Amy is reading a book. The object is book, which is kirjaa here, partitive case because it's ongoing. One more example. Minä tunnen hänet hyvin means I know him or her well. Minä means I, it's the subject here. Tunnen is our verb, first person singular present tense of the verb tuntea, which means to know. Hänet here is accusative singular of hän, it's our object here, and hyvin is an adverb. I do know him or her well. So let's repeat. Minä tunnen hänet hyvin. I know him well. Alright, now we move on to our last structure for today, the change expressing sentences. To express a change, we either use the elative case or the transitive case. The elative case we use when we want to express the starting point or the origin of the change, and the transitive case we use when we want to express the result or destination of a change. Let's have a look at some examples. Hänestä tuli lääkäri means he became a doctor. So here this sentence implies that the person has changed from not being a doctor to being a doctor. Sinusta tuli lentäjä means you became a pilot. So sinusta here is the elative case of sinä, literally meaning from you. Tuli here is the third person singular past tense of the verb tulla, and lentäjä means pilot. So with this sentence, we express a change from the state of you not being a pilot to the state of you being a pilot. So sinusta tuli lentäjä means you became a pilot. Next one is Lasse valmistui geologiksi means Lasse graduated as a geologist. And our last one for today, ilma muuttuu sateiseksi. Literally means the weather becomes rainy or the weather turns into rain. So ilma means weather, muuttuu means becomes or changes, and then we have sateiseksi. It's the translative case of sateinen, which means rainy. So this sentence expresses that there is a change happening in the weather and the result of the change is rain. So in easier words, this sentence expresses that the weather changed into a state of being rainy. So let's repeat. Ilma muuttuu sateiseksi. The weather becomes rainy. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more Finnish, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day and see you next time.